Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here. We'll give it maybe just 1 minute to let everyone join, and then we will get started. As you're joining, feel free to pop in the chat where you're calling from.
Mm. Hey, Sonia, how you doing? Nicole, Sheila, welcome, welcome.
Let's see.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Teresa.
Looks like we got a good chunk of folks here. We've got a lot of content to cover today, so we're going to dive right in. So this webinar is going to be focused on end of year engagement strategies, wrapping up your programs for 2025, finishing strong, and then how to successfully kick off your programs for 2026. I have my customer success manager, Samantha, here with me. Most of you have met with her or talked to her before. She's going to be sharing a lot of amazing insight on engagement and reporting insights. And then we are so excited to have our guest speaker, Armando, with us. He is VP of Team Engagement at Center for Social Dynamics, one of our fantastic clients that we have had the pleasure of working with. So we are super excited to have him share his best practices as well as his success stories. So let's dive right in. Feel free to pop questions throughout in the chat. Hopefully we will have time at the end for a quick Q&A session. So feel free to just pop those questions as you think of them in the chat, and we will look at them and address them at the end. So real quick, our agenda here, Sam's going to go over some types of recognition as well as some end of year campaign ideas. She's also going to talk about program measurement. Then we're going to pass over to Armando to give us some insights on their recognition program, as well as the success they have seen in retention. Then we will come back to me. I have some really exciting product updates to share with you, and we will do a couple quick walkthroughs of some of our most exciting features that have recently been launched. And then we will end with a quick view of our end of year checklist, which will be emailed to you guys after the call, and then hopefully a time for Q&A. So let's dive right in. I'm going to pass over to Sam, who is going to start off by talking about the 3 different types of recognition as outlined in the 7 best practice standards from Recognized Professional International.
Thank you so much, Brittany. So let's go ahead and get started with your day-to-day recognition right there at the bottom. Now, these are going to be your very small, frequent peer-to-peer gestures that keep the appreciation flowing. These are your quick thank yous, your core value badges, shout outs that, cost very little but mean a lot. So the purpose of these day-to-day recognitions is building connection, acknowledging everyday effort, and it pretty much reaches everyone in the organization. Now, you can choose, if you are choosing to put a monetary value on these are going to be very minimal, from between $0 to $10. And you want to think of this as the heartbeat of your recognition culture, steady, authentic, and constant. And then the next core type of recognition we have is informal. So this is pretty much typically your manager-led recognition, and given when someone really goes above and beyond. So this type of recognition really reinforces the behaviors that matter most for your organization, and especially the ones that tie directly to company goals or core values. So if you, again, are putting a monetary value on this, this is going to be very moderate, usually between $10 and $100. Again, this is, what works for your organization. And this type of informal recognition keeps your core values alive and visible, especially during those really high activity periods, especially like the holidays that are coming up right now. And lastly, we have your formal recognition. These are the big executive-led moments. Your award ceremonies, milestones, year-end recognitions that make people truly feel seen in the company. And the purpose of these formal recognitions is really to honor major milestones and your top performers. So these are going to be your very, very high value rewards from, hundreds, maybe up to thousands if you want. So these are really your spotlight moments that leave that lasting impression and remind people that their impact really does matter. Now, let's kind of see how all these three layers come together. And the holidays are the perfect time to really amplify appreciation, not just to close out the year, but to really celebrate the people and reinforce the culture you've been trying to build all year long. So when we're talking about day-to-day, we have some examples here. So think holiday themed challenges to really spread that holiday cheer. So 12 days of recognition, just, how you do 12 days of Christmas, but really tie that into your program. Or create a festive gratitude wall, especially with Thanksgiving coming up. And then you can also do year in review. So this really prompts that encouraging reflection. It's that small, consistent act that builds that sense of community and belonging during a busy season. And don't forget, informal, we always talk about how managers really play a huge role here. So some things you could do for those informal campaigns, you could do end of year shout outs, publicly thanking team members for standout work, special recognition badges. Maybe you want to create limited edition holiday badges. We always have really fun ones in our newsletters that we send out. So, download those, start using them. Or you can think about a bonus perhaps for those who really went above and beyond. And then you could also do personalized holiday messages. So encourage your leaders and managers to send those short, sincere notes of appreciation. And then, those gestures really go a long way to help your employees feel seen, valued, and motivated. And of course, now we're going back into that formal. Don't forget about those memorable celebrations. So these can be your company-wide celebrations. You can host your virtual, or, if you're an in-person team, you can do your in-person events to really honor those top achievers. Think, core value awards, project of the year, most engaged team. And then you could do a leadership thank you message, pair executive notes of gratitude with year-end rewards. And then formal nominations, recognizing those major accomplishments through structured nomination programs, and really taking advantage of the nominations feature within Recognize to help with this formal nomination. So just remember, these moments really, really reinforce what matters to your culture and make recognition feel meaningful and memorable. So we did put a link here to our articles. So we have a lot of seasonal campaigns. For example, we have our autumn recognition campaign ideas, where you can download those really awesome seasonal badges. Maybe you want to do something for Halloween. We have some bingo cards in there. We also share some upcoming dates that maybe you want to run a campaign around. So we have the QR code there as well for you. So now we've talked about the three core recognitions. Let's carry that same energy to how we review and measure. So let's start with a simple framework for measurement. We have 4 levels of measurement. These are your 4 key levels for your recognition program, and each tells a different part of the story. So level 1, we have recognition awareness. Do your employees know the program exists? Are they engaging with emails or attending those trainings? Recognize offers those free user and manager trainings. Definitely take advantage of that. Let us do the training for you. And then level 2, we have recognition activity. So this is how many recognitions are being given or received. What's your budget utilization? Things like that. And then level 3, recognition satisfaction. do your employees feel that recognition is meaningful and authentic? Are you doing surveys? Are you doing EMPS? What are those scores telling you? And then lastly, level 4, recognition impact. Is recognition driving measurable outcomes like retention, engagement, performance? Together, these will definitely give you a full view of how your recognition program is working across your organization. And then to measure effectively, we need both quantitative and qualitative insights. So when we're talking about quantitative data, this is things like your participation rates, utilization, your survey, EMPS scores, ROI. And then qualitative, this is more of your employee surveys. This is your employee stories, their feedback. Perhaps you have a focus group. These numbers tell you what's happening, but the stories tell you why that's happening. So when you merge both of these together, you get a full balanced picture of your program's health. So, I just want you guys to take a moment and think about it. Like, are you capturing both sides of that picture in your organization? Because at the end of the day, measurement isn't just about collecting data, it's also about insights. This will help you forecast budgets, identify engagement gaps, and really celebrate those wins that matter most. So let's shift gears and talk about a few key end year review points that can really help you wrap the year strong and set the stage for even a better year ahead. So we have some engagement reports that we find very helpful for you guys to pull for the year. So these are reports such as recognitions received. Who are your top senders within the organization? Do you want to look at the comments and reactions? Also, your most engaged groups. So these can also kind of help you with your nomination process as well, because you want to look at those submissions. And you can also look at your tasks completed. Look at your most recognized company values or the most used badges. This can always help you kind of rethink your badge strategy going into the new year. Also looking at that bar graph and looking at those peak recognition periods and really try to understand why you had those peak moments and try to recreate that going into the new year to keep that engagement going. And then of course, the dashboard overview, very, very great to just get that quick overview of how your program's working, looking at, your integrations, how your users are accessing the platform. And then maybe, again, that can really help you into the next year to push certain integrations so users start going. Maybe you want them to be more in teams or start using your intranet. And then we have, manager participation. This is where we want to look at, who are your most engaged managers and who's sending out the most recognitions. Taking a look at that manager recognition engagement score, your RES, to see, again, how engaged they are. And then looking at the percentage of direct reports that they're actually recognizing. This gives you really good insight on whether you need to do more manager training or, with your managers going into the new year and, show them best practices, how to use the platform. And then we have reward insights. So think about reports, your total redemption reports, unredeemed total points, and then looking at your most redeemed and least redeemed rewards. Again, this can kind of help you budget for your rewards going into the new year and really, find really fun ways and campaigns for users to use their points so you don't have such a large unredeemed total at the end of the year sitting out there. And, we've covered how to recognize, how to celebrate, how to measure what matters. Now let's take a look at it in action. I am so thrilled to have Armando with us from Center for Social Dynamics, VP of Team Engagement. And he's going to go ahead and share how his team uses quantitative insights to connect recognition with retention and share some practical tips and best practices to take back with you to your organization. Welcome, Armando. So excited to have you.
Hi, Samantha. Thank you so much for having me. I was almost going to wear the same outfit I wore in that picture. I just thought it'd be funny, but I didn't. Hi, everybody. My name is Armando Luna. I am the VP of Team Engagement at Center for Social Dynamics Autism Services. And, I want to start with as we reflected on Recognize and its impact, at CSD, we believe that recognition isn't just a platform, right? It's how we live our mission every single day. It's not just about giving points or badges. It's about how Recognize has become a part of who we are as an organization, how we feel connection, how we build community, strengthen culture, and hopefully give people a reason to stay with us. So, next slide. But we ran into something that maybe you all have as well. Because let's get real. Even a great program like this can lose its spark, right? We hit a wall at CSD. Recognition became routine. The usage dropped. Gift cards felt stale. And the company swag, don't even get me started on the company swag. Recognitions felt more like a checkbox rather than celebrations. So we knew we had to bring that heart back to recognize, because recognition should feel human, right? Not transactional. So I think that's important for us to continue to evolve the way that we and our team engage with this platform. And that's exactly what we did. Next slide. So, what do? We practice what we teach. We teach positive reinforcement every day. It's at the core of what we do here at CSD. So, we decided, why don't we practice what we preach? We turned recognition into reinforcement, genuine, specific, and really tied to our mission. But we didn't make these changes alone as an organization. We actually took Recognize back to our teams and we asked, what would make this meaningful again? Because it hit a plateau. And we listened to all the feedback. Some of it was nice, and some of it was pretty brutal, I'll be honest. But it was all important. We listened to clinicians, to our regional leadership, to our advisory boards, anything from the neurodiversity advisory board that we have at CSD to our clinical leadership. Everyone had a voice in what we did with Recognize. And I think what came out of the process was something truly special. It was a version of Recognize that felt built by our community for our community. It wasn't just redesigned. In a way, I like to think that it was like co-created, shaped by real feedback by people who live our mission every day. And I think that's why it really works now, is because it reflects our team. Next slide. So we redesigned, recognized, and relaunched it. So what do you call it? You know how like a lot of organizations have their values, and Sam and Brittany, I might need your help with this. You know how a lot of organizations, they'll have their values, right? And they'll say, oh, these are our values. And then they take the first letter of every value and it makes another word. What do you call that again? I forgot.
An
An
Acronym.
act.
Thank you. Acronym. Yes. Okay. So we are just, we're basic. We have an acronym too. Ours is true. And our values are transparency, respect, understanding, and excellence. But at the end of the day, those are just words, right? They're empty words until you give them meaning. Your values have to be grounded in your everyday mission. They have to be grounded and embedded in everyday culture. And that's exactly what we did. So we took true and we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just words on the wall, that they are the backbone of how we treat each other and how we care for our clients. And now they're actually the heartbeat of Recognize. I'm going to do a quick water break. Next slide. These are our core badges, and every badge tells a story. It's all anchored by the true badge, which, full transparency, No pun intended. I know that's our first value. It used to be one of them. There was a badge for each of them. So there was a badge for transparency, one for respect, one for understanding, one for excellence. And the feedback we got was like, I don't like, why are you making me think so much? Can't I just send a badge to somebody? So we put it all into one badge, and that has been a hit. Everybody has access to that. But the rest of the badges, whether it's celebrating consistency and care, mentoring a teammate, or delivering an excellent session, each one of them reflect real actions that drive impact. I mean, what we heard from our clinicians is, hey, reward us for what we're doing, reward us for the cool things that we're doing that not everybody sees. And the chatter on the stream is awesome. I mean, if you what I tell everybody is, if you're ever having a bad day, go to the stream on Recognize and look at the recognitions, and it will really boost you because these are moments, these are things that are happening, these are connections. So what's really cool is that it reminds our team that excellence doesn't always come with a spotlight, right? But it always deserves recognition. And all of these badges really just contribute to our overall mission on how to provide excellent care for our clients, how to take awesome data, how to provide clinical care consistency, how to be mentors to each other, how to help our clients graduate from services by meeting their goals. These are all events that are recognized at CSD. And also, we built up a little bit of a mystery over the relaunch. So we relaunched back in January. What I mean relaunch is that we went from one set of badges to another, but we also transitioned out of into a new storefront, which I'm going to talk about shortly. But something else that we did is that we built buzz around it. We turned off Recognize for a few days, just say, hey, it's under maintenance right now. And we said something special is coming out. We put it in our company bulletin, something special is coming out, be on the lookout. And then what we did was we just kind of sat back and people started talking. What's happening? What's coming up? What's happening? And then we released like little kind of like teaser trailers for our relaunch of Recognize. We got a little bit cheesy with it, right? Trying to make it seem like big budget action films. And then we launched Recognize, and it was awesome. So go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay. So I was talking about swag earlier. Our Recognize used to only be you could use gift cards, but those were limited, and company swag, CSD branded swag. It's great, but you can only redeem for CSD branded socks so many times, and it just gets boring. I actually heard horror stories of like, kids opening up Christmas presents on Christmas morning only to find CSD socks or CSD scrunchies or a CSD cozy. It was just too much. So we are like, okay, people don't want the swag. Some of them do, but we gotta step it up a bit. And that's where the Amazon storefront changed everything. Um, Suddenly, like recognitions became real, tangible, and instant. One of the pieces of feedback we got is that there was too much waiting on the gift. Like, they would get the gift card, then they would have to go into the email, get a code, go to Amazon, redeem the code, and all this thing, or whatever platform. And it was just too much. It was like too many steps to get to the prize. Um, and the Amazon storefront was so awesome because it just brought in this excitement of being appreciated and rewarded right away. To have the storefront be in recognized was such a treat. And the buzz was immediate. People started talking, engaging, and sending recognitions like they never had before. There was excitement to recognize again. People loved the badges. People said, like, hey, this is awesome. Like, I really want to engage more now with recognize. And something else that we did, next slide, is everybody starts their first day in our organization with me. So from day one, I welcome everybody in new hire orientation, and everybody joins Recognize on that first day. And one of the actions that we reinforce is to really lift somebody up. We connect our new hires with each other in breakout rooms, and they spend a day workshopping with each other, discussing videos and content. And then we set the tone with these moments. From the very beginning, they know that this is a place where people see each other, support each other, and they celebrate the work. And at the end of the day, when we go through our recognized introduction, we say, hey, start recognizing each other. And they do. And these recognitions are so beautiful because it's people joining our organization for the first time. And yet they're so connected. They're already deep in our values. And not only that, but they're also reflecting on the values and then reflecting on thanking other people for living those values. So it's just a great way, starting it from day one. It's something I really encourage you all to do. If you have recognized this, build it into your new hire orientation. Next slide. I think the data really tells a story. We've seen an impact on retention. The results, they speak for themselves. Team members who receive recognitions are twice as likely to say, from 72% versus 35%. That is huge. And those who redeem recognitions, they have the highest engagement and tenure across CSD, which is showing us that recognition isn't just a feel-good gesture. It's actually one of the smartest investments that we've made. Because as you all know, um, in our field at CSD, or in the one that we work in, ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis, we have high turnover, really high turnover. So it is really important that we found a way to connect with our clinicians and made them feel really excited about the work that we did with our clients. And we saw that this was actually helping. Now, I know correlation does not equal causation and everything, but at the same time, from the feedback, from the analytics that we've gotten and everything, it's working, and we're really excited about it. So, why does it all matter? Next slide. As I said, this is hard work. Our clinicians at CSD are the front line of care every single day. And I think a simple recognition can really be the spark that reignites you. Um, how many of you here, put in the chat, have received a recognition that just lit you up like the sun, that you took a moment and it almost floored you? You're like, wow, somebody noticed that about me? That is so cool, right? I remember somebody sent me a recognition one time for something I had no idea I did. And I was almost like, did they send it to the right person? But it was so nuanced. But to them, it meant something. And it makes you realize how awesome this platform is and just how much of a joy it brings to our. I mean, we probably got in dozens here, maybe hundreds, and it never gets old. When you get that little buzz and you go, oh, somebody sent me recognition, I get so excited. And it really just, so if we're doing that tenfold across the organization, imagine all those little moments that you're creating, all those little moments of reinforcement of like, wow, I feel special today. It's like if it's your birthday every day. But it's also a way of saying, we see you, we value you, you matter. And I think that moment can turn an ordinary day into something meaningful. So, in closing, this year alone, we have sent over 31,134 recognitions as of this morning, and that's a huge uptick. But it's more than that. That's 31,134 stories of connection. These are moments that happened that may have gone unnoticed, may have disappeared at some point. And yet now they're memorialized on the wall. And people will remember them, they'll go in, they'll like them, they'll comment on them, and they go, that happened. And that was important. And I love that because at the end of the day, Recognize isn't just a platform, it's actually a practice, right? It's how we live out positive reinforcement, how we live out gratitude, excellence, not just with our clients, but how we do it with each other at CSD. Because I think that when we take the time to recognize one another, we don't just build retention, we actually create belonging in our organizations. And I think that that's the heart of who we are at CSD. So thank you so much for having me and for allowing me to talk about our wonderful organization and just the awesome work that our team is doing. And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Armando. I am so happy about so many things that you said, and just so appreciative that you took the time to join us today, and share all of your amazing best practices with your peers. I know that these insights are going to help them immensely. Okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about some exciting product updates. Some are have launched in the past quarter, some just launched, and some are going to launch soon. So I want to start out with badge questions. This is something that we launched, I believe it was last month. And some of you, most of you probably already got some email communication about this and maybe have already looked into it. But I wanted to take a moment today just to talk a little bit more about it, and really tie it back to what Sam was talking about with formal recognition. And one thing that I really like about dividing the types of recognition into the day-to-day, the informal, and the formal, is because it really makes you start to look at things like nomination campaigns as a form of recognition. I think that a lot of us are really good about that day-to-day recognition, and we maybe are really locked in on some of those informal recognitions like the manager-led badges and things like that. But where a lot of times we kind of stop is before we hit that formal recognition and really kind of tying all of those recognitions into a bigger celebration. And this can happen quarterly, end of year, but using a nomination campaign to be able to celebrate those formal recognitions is really important. And with our new badge questions feature, this is allowing you to use the nominations feature in a much more detailed and impactful way. And this is something that I know a lot of customers had been asking for a really long time. And so we were really, really excited to launch this feature. So essentially what this feature does is allows you to add additional custom questions to your nomination campaign, and that you can actually do it to your recognition badges as well. So for example, if you had additional criteria or questions that you wanted answered when a recognition is sent, you can do that. But most importantly, or what was being asked for the most, was being able to do that for your nominations. So a lot of times those nominations is not formal recognition. There are certain criteria that you need. It's not just I want to nominate this person for Employee of the Year because they're cool, right? Like there's actual like specific criteria that you as an administrator want to capture for each nomination, and you can now do that. So in addition to the message, you can customize additional questions that can be optional or required, that the end user has to complete before they can submit the nomination. And I won't do a full demo here, but we will have some links for some AMA sessions at the end. So if you want additional help or to learn more, you can definitely book some additional time with us. But I will give a quick overview. If you just go to your custom badges section under settings, you will now, oh, is that right?
It might be on the sales demo site, Brittany.
Yeah, maybe I'm on the wrong. Let me go to a different one. Please hold. Let's try this one. I was just assuming it was there. Oh, here we go. I can already see it. So when you go to your custom badge page, sorry, it's not in settings. There, you're going to see a new little option here for questions. And this is where you can customize your questions. And you're going to create the question and then assign it to a badge. So you'll add the question, whatever you want that question to be. Maybe it's what company values did the employee exhibit, or whatever other criteria. You also do have different options. So you can have them do like a checkbox answer, or just even a yes or no. So you have different question types. You can say whether this question should be required or optional. And then once you create the question, you'll see it pop up here. And this is where you can assign it to badges. This gives you ability, like if you wanted to create the same question for multiple badges, you don't have to recreate that question that many times. You just create the question once, and then you come in here and decide what badges you want to assign it to. It will include recognition badges as well as nomination badges. So that is one of our biggest, newest features that we're really excited about. This feature is available in our enterprise package. So if you are in our enterprise package, you should already see this option. If you're not in our enterprise package and you're interested in this feature as an upgrade or an add-on, just let us know. We can help you out. Yeah, so that I really wanted to talk about that one, mostly in reference to what Sam was talking about with formal recognition. We're excited to be able to have presented this before the end of the year so that you can really start utilizing that nomination feature for that end of year formal recognition. Let's see. Let me go back to my slides here. Okay, next one that I'm going to talk about is surveys. So this has been kind of a long time coming, a really huge initiative for Recognize. A lot of you have gotten sneak peeks of this feature. A lot of you were amazing at meeting with us and giving your feedback. A lot of you have participated in our beta testing. But we are super happy to announce that as of yesterday, we have fully launched surveys, and it's no longer something you have to ask for. It's just automatically available to you in your account. And so with surveys, if you are in the mid-market package, you have access to one survey. And if you're in the enterprise package, you can run as many surveys as you want. And you will also have the ability to have some additional features like custom logic and things like that. And again, tying the feature back to what our topics are in today's webinar, I really want to talk about surveys in the context of qualitative measurement, something that Sam talked about at the beginning of the webinar. I think it's really easy, especially for those of us who are numbers oriented, to look at the quantitative data and to look at numbers and see trends. And again, that's a huge part of measuring the success of your program, but we really don't want to forget about the qualitative and the sentiment piece. How are people feeling? Are they happy with the type of recognition that they're receiving? Are they happy with the badge selection? Are they happy with the rewards that are being provided? Do they feel valued by their managers? And so that piece of it is something that Recognize really wanted to support you with. And so that is really where our launch of surveys stemmed from. Of course, you can create a survey for anything you want, right? Like this is a very comprehensive survey product, so you can utilize it for, gathering feedback on something or, basically any type of survey that you would normally run, you can run that right inside of Recognize. But we really want to encourage you to use the survey feature to run some sort of an employee engagement and recognition feedback survey. And again, timing was awesome with this one because we're heading towards the end of the year. This is the time where you should start evaluating that sentiment and that qualitative data. And so we've launched it just in time for you to use the Recognize survey tool for that purpose. Not only did we launch it, we're giving you some additional tools. So you'll see that let's see if I have the right test account here. Yeah, we've got surveys here. So you'll see the survey in your company admin portal. You'll see the survey, the new survey page on your left navigation panel. And if you click here, you'll see if you have any active, like I in this account have active surveys. Yours, if you're opening it for the first time, would be blank. But once you start having surveys, you'll see them here. But if you click new survey up here in the top right, you'll see that there's templates. We have EMPS, So it's going to track the responses at like the response rate in an average, but it's also going to track the true EMPS score. So that's a great one to use. We also have an employee happiness, which is a little bit of a longer 20-question survey, as well as a quick employee engagement 12-question survey template. So we have those there kind of ready for you to play with. And they're customizable as well. So if you wanted to use, say, the employee happiness, you can go through it and kind of tweak the questions to match your brand, but at least gives you a great place to start. I'm also going to share with you in the follow-up, I'll share a template here for an employee engagement and recognition feedback survey. This combines both how they're feeling about recognition culture as well as their direct feedback on the recognition program. And this is a 20-question survey template. Excuse me, just combining both of those concepts. And so I'll send this to you guys in the follow-up email as well that you're welcome to use. So we're trying to do our best to help you guys get these engagement surveys off the ground as your end of year program initiatives. And then let's see, I'll just do, how are we on time? I'll just do a really quick, if you wanted to use a template, kind of what that looks like. So again, super comprehensive in terms of if you've used a survey product before, this is going to be, probably one of the most robust that you've seen. You can do different question types, different customizations, make things required or not required. If you're an enterprise, you have additional features like logic, where you can say, if they answer, yes to this question, send them to this one next. If they answer no, send them to this one next. All that type of thing. You can theme it so you can add, your own branding. And then we also have things like automated reminders. So let me see if I can open one of these up here. This is an EMPS. You can open for me? There we go. So if we go to the settings, you have some automated reminders that will go out. So you don't have to remember to notify your employees that there's a survey that they need to complete. We can send those via email and or SMS. We will send a notification right when the survey period opens. And then we will send a reminder depending on the length of there's some logic here that is described in our step-by-step guide, but depending on the length of the time that the survey period is open, it'll space them out accordingly. So you'll get the initial notification, and then, one about halfway through, and then, just before it's going to close, a final reminder. So all of that's automated for you. You can also see all of the responses. They're all anonymous. So you'll never be able to see who submitted the answer, but you will be able to see all of the responses. Let me see also if there's one that has data. So not a ton of data, but we do definitely have not a ton of data for this particular example. Maybe there is a better one to choose. I don't know if this one's going to have more, but essentially you'll be able to dive into like completion rates, different trends, and each question will kind of have its own set of data that you can analyze. So you'll be able to dive into the responses in the data that way as well. So that's surveys. Again, really excited. If you are mid-market, you're going to have access to one survey. It can be any survey you want. Of course, we're going to recommend that it's an employee happiness or an employee engagement survey to kind of to gauge that employee sentiment and gauge the success of your recognition program. But it can be any survey that you want. And then if you're an enterprise customer, go crazy. You can create as many surveys as you want. You also have the ability to create surveys by group. So So you can say under audience, you can use the same roles that you already have configured in Recognize. You can create a survey that's only open to that group. So for example, if you wanted to survey only your managers or only a specific team or a specific department, if we already have those roles in Recognize, you can use it for your surveys too. And then there's other cool things here, like how many times they can respond and all sorts of fun things, but I won't go into all of it. I'll let you guys explore it on your own. We're going to send out the guide and everything in our follow-up email. And then, of course, we'll have links to AMA sessions at the end as well. So the entire CS team is more than happy to dive into surveys a little more. The next one that I want to talk about is challenges rebrand. So, excuse me, formerly known as tasks, which a lot of you have probably used, we are going to be rebranding our tasks feature to now be called challenges. This is coming. Should be by the end of November. Right now, it's going to be just a rebrand and a little bit of an updated look, which I'll give you a quick preview of. But in Q4 and then Q1 of next year, we're looking to make some additional changes to the challenges, formerly tasks feature. And we're really looking for feedback from you all on have you used the current tasks feature? What were some things you liked about it? What were some limitations? What are some things that you would like to see in the new challenges updates? Share that with us. We really want to hear those ideas and those use cases so that when we're making these updates, we have you in mind. So let me just give a quick peek of what you guys are going to see. So what was formerly called tasks will now be called challenges. And from an end user perspective, when they click on challenges, they're going to actually see cards with all of the open challenges that are available to them. So again, challenges is something that can be configured by role. So you can create challenges for just a certain team or just maybe managers or whatever those roles would be or groups would be in your organization. But as an end user, when I go to the challenges icon, I will be able to see any challenges that are available to me. I'll see how many points they're worth, if any. I'll be able to see how many others have completed that challenge. And then new is to the right, there is some leaderboards. So you're going to see the top folks who have submitted challenges and anybody who's recently submitted a challenge. So just, again, going with the challenge theme here, we're creating a little bit of competition, a little bit of fun with the challenges. And then, of course, it'll look exactly the same once they choose what challenge they want to complete. So if I click into this challenge, this is going to be, for now, very familiar. Again, more updates to come with challenges, but to kick things off, just a rebrand of calling it challenges and a little bit of an enhanced end user view so they can see exactly what challenges are available to them, how many points they're going to earn, and then a bit of a leaderboard here. No real changes yet to the administrative side of challenges other than the rebranding of the name. This will, for now, look all very similar. But again, more changes on the administrative side in the next couple of quarters as we continue to work on making this feature something that is really valuable to your organizations. And then again, we like to provide resources. So in our follow-up, we are also going to offer this workplace challenge playbook that gives some of the most popular ideas for challenge themes, things like wellness, safety, recognition and engagement challenges, sustainability and social impact, as well as learning and development. So we're going to share this with you as well to get you started in creating some challenges. And then the next one that I want to touch on is the limited company admin access. This is something that we launched I believe it was last quarter. And I wanted to bring this one back up just because we're in the time of year where we're talking a lot about reporting. And you, as administrators, are going to have the reports that you want to pull, but you probably have leaders and managers who also want reports. They also want to see what engagement looks like in their specific group. And that at this time of year can get overwhelming for you as admins. So I wanted to make sure to remind you that you do now have the ability to give people limited company admin access. So what that means is I don't have to, if somebody wants ability to look at dashboard reporting or poll recognition reporting, for example, I don't have to give them access to the entire company admin suite. I now have the access if I go into roles, and then I go into settings. Down at the bottom, I have the access to give limited permissions based on the role. So for example, if I wanted to give all managers, for example, let's add that role. If I wanted to give all managers access to the dashboard, and let's say I wanted to also give them recognition reporting, I can add those, and then anybody who has the manager role, they will have access to only the dashboard page and only the recognitions page. So you can really protect the integrity of your program and the security of your program while also lightening your load and pulling in additional people to kind of help. This is great for reporting, those reporting requests that you get, but also great to pull in others in your recognition committee. Maybe you have somebody that's responsible for updating badges and you only want to give them access to the badges page, or you have a specific employee that's in charge of your rewards. You don't have to give them access to everything. You can only give them access to rewards. So however you want to use this, I just want to remind you that this option is there. If you are a mid-market customer, you can give permissions to entire pages. So for example, I can say all of dashboard or all of recognitions. If you are enterprise, you can even go a little bit deeper and say, okay, I want them to have access to the dashboard, but only these particular pages. So it's that these subcategories here. So you can get a little bit more granular if you are in the enterprise package, but mid-market has the option to do this as well, just giving the full page access. Again, any questions, reach out to us. We're happy to help you get that set up, dive in a little bit more. But again, our goal here is just to make your lives as admins easier, lighten the load for you a little bit, and also add additional responsibility, right? If you have leaders and managers who can get in there and look at their own reporting, they're probably more likely to look at it, and it just provides a little bit more ownership. So I would definitely encourage exploring that feature, especially for like your higher level leaders as well. And I know we're running short on time, so real quick, I'm just going to mention manager direct report cards. This is just a, for now, just an update on a look. I think this is going to be in my other one too. So managers now have, if they go to their direct reports page, what they're used to seeing is a list view here. And what we have updated is a card view. So they can see each of their direct report and the associated metrics in a card view. And I'll give you, since you guys are so awesome joining our webinar, I'll give you a little bit of tea. This is all in preparation for something really big we have coming in 2026 with AI. So essentially, we are going to be providing you the ability to use received recognitions and engagement activity happening in the platform to create AI-generated summaries for your direct reports. So just a little sneak peek for those of you who joined us today. Really exciting stuff coming in 2026. But if your managers see this new card view in their company or in their manager portal, just know that it is preparing for something big. Okay, let's see. I'm talking too much. We're running out of time. We are going to also provide you with an end of year recognition program checklist. So all these awesome things that we talked about, it's a lot. So we put it all into a document for you with specific things for you to look at and measure as you are reviewing your recognition program as you wrap up 2025 and help you plan for 2026. So it's going to go over things like taking a look at how your program is performing, employee feedback and sentiment, program features and content, manager and leadership engagement, communication and awareness, budgeting and rewards, planning for 2026, and then, of course, celebrating and acknowledging the success of your recognition program. So we will share that in the follow-up and hope that you guys find that super useful as you're reviewing your programs in the next couple of months. Let's see.
You just want to really encourage everyone to get in and start playing with surveys. As Armando said, getting that employee feedback really helped them relaunch their program and get that excitement again. And I will say, I just met with one of my clients who thought they did this amazing job communicating Recognize to their users. They've been with us for a little over a year now, and they actually ran a survey and got that qualitative, data. And they found out over 50% of their employees didn't even know they had a recognition program. So it's extremely important to get that feedback and really, really have a successful recognition program. That's just my one point I want to point out there. It's super important, have fun with surveys.
Thanks, Sam. We have just a couple minutes left, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. I see that we've kind of been answering them along. I don't think there's any in there right now that we haven't answered. Sheila talking about you guys at Goodwill having your formal recognition next week. I would love to hear more about that. So once you guys have that, it would be awesome to feature that in maybe our next newsletter. So if you're up for it, go ahead and send me what you guys did and maybe some success in pictures. I'd love to celebrate you guys and all the great work that you're doing. Let's see, any other questions? I'm also actually, while we're waiting, I'm going to pop over to this screen. This is our lovely CS team, and these QR codes lead to our AMA sessions. This will also be in our follow-up email, so if you can't grab it here, you'll get it in the follow-up email. But again, our CS team is happy to meet with you and discuss anything that we talked about on today's call, or really anything else you need as well. Happy to dive into any of this with you. And our goal is to make sure that your recognition program is super successful. That's what we're here for.
And then if anyone has questions for Armando later on his intro slide, we've got his QR code to connect with him as well on LinkedIn.
Okay, I don't see any additional questions, but we're here if you think of them later. So we will let everybody go. We are just about at time. Thank you guys so much for joining. This was a packed webinar. So thanks for hanging out with us for an hour. And once again, thank you, Armando, for being here. Your insights were invaluable, and we so appreciate you and your partnership. Thanks, everyone. We will see you guys. Have a great Halloween tomorrow as well. Bye, guys.
Bye.